Hey guys, what's up? My name is Tony, this is the 15 Minute Gamer, and welcome to my review of Forza Horizon 5. The version I will be looking at is on the PC. Microsoft's exclusive racing series returns to Xbox and PC. It's out in 2 days' time on the 9th of November, and that's if you got the premium edition. And let's cut straight to the chase. It's probably one of the best open world racer games out there since Test Drive Unlimited 2. For those who don't know, Forza Motorsport was created to rival Gran Turismo in the semi-serious sim racing genre, and Sony have published a few arcade races as well with the likes of MotorStorm and Drive Club. But then along came Horizon, and this is an open world arcade racer with fantastic graphics, a robust multiplayer, and there's nothing quite like Forza Horizon on any format. Now Sony don't seem to be going down that route so far from what we've seen, and there's certainly little in common between Forza Horizon and Motorsport outside of the graphics and gameplay. But before we start, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, smash that like button, and comment below to let me know what you think. Right, without further ado, let's crack straight on with it. The basic premise of Forza Horizon 5, well, all Forza Horizon games, has been the same since the beginning. It's the concept of attending like a countrywide driving festival. So if you imagine like a music festival, but with cars and music, and functions as a kind of virtual tourism. Like I've often find myself in the past like googling these places and be like, oh yeah, cool, that's how they look like. And especially with Horizon 4, which took part mainly in the northeast of England and Scotland where I grew up, it held a special place. I've been to them places, I've driven myself on them roads, and just seeing them in virtual form was really cool. Previous entries have been to the US, France and Italy, Australia and the UK. This time round it's a turn of Mexico, with the game's open world including deserts, forests, volcanoes, beaches, cities, Mayan temples and everything else you can possibly imagine. In fact, the sheer variety is amazing and exploring is just a joy. Going to talk about this later on, but I think the map is probably better than Forza. It's bigger, but I also think there's a lot more to do. However, one thing that is not a joy, especially as you're getting old like me, is the cringeworthy extreme racing dialogue. Not just the racing dialogue, just the dialogue between the characters in the game is just, oh, it's awful. It's terrible. And this extends to the radio station DJs as well. When I'm listening to them, like, I just wouldn't listen to these guys in real life. And in fact, the avatars are probably the worst thing about this game. They also look terrible as well, the graphics on the avatars. I just don't think they've changed much since like Forza Horizon 2. They look like something you would expect on the 360, not where we are now. And they all look like the sort of people you would actively avoid. So when I was choosing a character, I was like, I don't want to be any of these. Where's the old grumpy man in a cardigan? Just not there. There's also terrible clothes choices. They all have these horrible dead eyes as well. You can see into their non-existent soul. It looks terrible. And I know the guys who made this game, they want a story. They want this aspect. They want the avatars in it. But they just look so bad. And this needs to be improved massively for the next game. And also, the cost of items, like a jumper, is like 14,000 credits. You can get a car for 25. Don't want a car or a jumper. But, however, I don't know. Maybe it's just me getting old and this is how kids like it these days. Now, moving on from my least favourite thing to maybe my favourite thing in this game is the graphics. It looks amazing. Forza Horizon 5 is still a cross-gen game, so I guess it probably doesn't use the full capabilities of the graphics, even on PC. I'm sure console it is a little bit different as well. But on PC, it looks amazing. Like, it's photorealistic at times. It's also not a system hog. I have a 2070 Super with an i7 processor and 32GB of RAM, so it's not a huge system, and it runs on Ultra, and I can record all at the same time, and it's got seemingly infinite draw distance. It's an impressive new lighting system which has the sun just dancing across the cars, and you'll see like it glisten off the chrome when you go around the corner, and it just looks amazing. There's the various biomes in the game all rendered in stunning detail as well. I mean, I would say some textures, especially buildings and ground textures in parts, can look a little bit rubbish, like it doesn't look like they've been textured properly. And when it rains, there's also some weird texture issues out there as well, and some pop-ins. But bear in mind, this game technically doesn't come out for another 2 more days. There could be a patch coming out, I don't know. So as we're in Mexico this time, the seasons of Forza Horizon 4 aren't quite there, but Forza Horizon 5's weather effects are just excellent. There's like storms with lightning strikes going and massive sandstorms that will take over the map, and they look so impressive. Another small point on graphics is the sense of speed you get, which I think is improved over Forza Horizon. You really feel like they've worked on this, and when you're doing 200 miles an hour and you're overtaking traffic on the road, it really feels like it. I think they've got that spot on. Obviously, photo mode is back, and again, it works so well. Some of the shots on the store, when I'm uploading my pictures, I'm like, oh my god, now I feel terrible. Some people are so amazing at photo modes on games. One thing I would say is maybe not as good is the replay system within this game. Again, it's just not very good. I don't like the camera angles. Like, I think there should just be like an automated drone setting which kind of goes around your car a little bit better and then picks some various angles to show it from. I think that could do some work, but it's always been a bit rubbish in the Forza Horizon games, so I'm just not sure if they just don't know how to do it. But yeah, that is one small gripe. The cars are obviously the stars of the show. They look amazing. Every car is impressive. There are almost 400 out there, and some convertibles are in there now, so you can actually put the roof up and down, which is so cool. You're going to get them by exploring, winning things, and taking part in Horizon Festival events. And there's also like a weekly, well, I think it's about weekly sort of thing to take part in, and you'll get cars from there. So you can't just buy your way to them. Some you'll have to win. Also, what is improved this time is when you're doing the car up, like adding body kits and stuff, there seems to be way more options for every vehicle, and they do look really cool. You can like put massive body kits on, like I was doing up a Dodge Viper thing and had like drifting. It just looks so cool. So that's all back in it. They've changed the screens a little bit, and I don't know if they're quite as good as 4, but there is a lot more in it. So yeah, go and check that out. Now, onto the sound. The only letdown with the sound for me is the camera angles don't really impact the sound as much as I would like. So if you're like in the inside of the car, it sounds the same as to when you're on the bonnet to when you're on the chase camera. Like, surely that sound should mix better and go quieter or louder or whatever. So it does break the immersion a tiny bit. There is subtle changes. It's a little bit better than 4, but I still think there's some more distance to go on there. However, every car sounds different, and you can really hear like the mud hitting the undercarriage of a car, and running through a tunnel, the sound like will bounce off the walls. And you can tell when you're driving like a V8 supercar to like a small engine hatch to like an off-road beast, like an American muscle car. The sounds were all re-recorded, while most were, and you can really tell it does sound really incredible. The music stations, I know a lot of people maybe don't care, but I didn't really like them. I found them a little bit rubbish. The DJs are annoying, and the music, it's trying to fit into the Mexico atmosphere. And if you're not really into that Spanish kind of music, I think you might struggle to find some stuff you like here. So I think it's like Block Party Radio is the one I tend to go for, because it plays a little bit of indie music like Foo Fighters and stuff. So yeah, might be your thing there, but I just stick Spotify on now. Now, onto the map. Well, it's twice as big as before, with the addition of a volcano, which is the highest point of any of the games so far. With the map, there is a real feeling of height. Like, I don't think there's as much flat land here. There's loads of hills and mountains to race up, and usually, in my case, fall back down. There's also lots to explore, like Aztec temples, sports stadiums, abandoned airfields, and loads of different biomes. There's like a swamp to go in. There's like a beach area, and it's all pretty cool. Talking about the size of the map, there was a round the map race, which I did in an S2 class car, and it was about 35 miles, I think, to go all the way around. It took 12 minutes. Bearing in mind, that was doing 220 miles an hour as much as I could, so I think you can gauge the size of the island now. That race did remind me of Test Drive Unlimited 2. For those who did play it, there was a round the like map race, and it was just so good. One thing I will say, and I'm going to cover it in AI later, but after 12 minutes, I only won that race by less than a second. Although this is an arcade racer, Horizon does come with a solid mix of off-road and circuit racing, and there's a clear difference in handling, the way suspension works, the way your brakes work, the way you approach the corners, and what surface you're on. I think it's really well done. There are a boatload of options to tune your car before a race. You can even download and share on the store. And if you have the right parts like adjustable wings, you can also adjust them. I mean, I don't know who takes this Forza Horizon that seriously, that you're going to sit and tweak around with stuff before you go into a race, but I'm sure some people might. The handling seems perfectly balanced for the kind of game it is. Forza Horizon is an arcade racer, and the handling is there. It's not too hard to handle, and there's also a boatload of difficulty options where you can change things to make it a little bit easier or a little bit hard. One thing I am going to mention though is the destruction effects, which I'm sure is no doubt due to a licensing issue. It's the same with the Formula 1 games, but they're just really simplified, and it is possible to damage your car, but it takes a long time to see anything more than a couple of scratches and a couple of cracks on the windscreen. Like, your windscreen doesn't like go blown out. You don't cave the side of your car in. And it's just quite frustrating when you see the rest of the destruction effects on ordinary objects, and then your car's just like a tank driving through. So you can be driving around at 200 miles an hour and hit a car and you just kind of go boop, and there's a little bit of damage on your car. There's just, no matter what destruction there should be, there isn't. You'll just kind of get knocked to one side and that's it. And again, because of how good the gameplay and graphics are, it's the one thing Horizon is missing. There's some really good crashes. I want to see some crashes out there. Again, licensing, so maybe they could have fake cars in there that do crash, or maybe special mode or something like Burnout would really help. So, I mean, talking about all of that, what will you be doing in the game world? Well, there's just loads. If you imagine Assassin's Creed, but in racing format, there's something to do everywhere. The idea is you simply drive around the game world, taking part in whatever races take your fancy, and it kind of like works like a role-playing game. Yeah, there's story missions, there's loyalty missions, there's side quests, like there's Horizon event missions to do, but if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. You just go off and do something else, and you'll gain points per race, and then you'll be able to unlock more events. These include circuit, point-to-point races in various conditions and locales. You might have to take like a photographer on a trip. You might have to do a race against something mad. You might have to jump out of a cargo plane. There's just, they've got these special showcase events, race against a train, that sort of thing. There's also a lot of Baja off-road races, as you'd expect, because that's where it's set in Mexico. But it's not just focused on unlocking new cars. There's around 400 to 500 cars. I mean, once you add on the DLC, there'll be more. And there is different parts of the map to go around and unlock, and as you go around, you'll unlock different street races, stunts, and as I said, special events. The map is filled with the same sort of secrets and bonus as you got in the last one, like you'll run over signs for XP, or taking money from fast travel. You can buy houses. There's a new multiplayer game mode called Horizon Arcade, which like involves you like hitting pinatas or giant bowling pins. You can do normal races, of course. You can challenge people as you drive around. You can also do one in Event Lab, which is kind of like makes cool one-off events that use your imagination and cool parts. I did one where there was like this like stadium and there was like a boss in the middle, and you had to like drive up ramps and hit certain parts to take energy off it. Just a bit of fun away from the normality. And the final thing I want to talk about is the AI. I feel like this has been improved a little bit. Still not perfect, because the AI do seem to slow down for you, and rubber banding is definitely there. But I feel the races are really close this time compared to Horizon 4. Like Horizon 4, I would win every race by miles, and I'd get quite bored. It's usually the problem with a lot of these arcade races, The Crew, and Need for Speed, is you just always end up just winning. But I found that this was offering a really good challenge, even on above average difficulty. As I said, I'd done 12 minutes of racing, and not one of them cars finished more than 4 seconds behind me. So I think you'll get a good challenge there. If you mess up a corner, you will be overtaken. So there are welcome new features here, but there are only sort of a couple of new ideas in this game. I mean, the unique selling point of Forza Horizon 5 is the map's bigger and it's more varied. And that's perfectly fine. This is a genre where I don't think you can innovate anymore. I don't know what you could do. Yeah, I've got a couple of things talked about which I would like to see, especially the avatars. I want to see them hugely improved for next time. But, you know, this is just the best Forza Horizon I've played, and it's the best new arcade racer on any format. There's nothing to beat this. If you want arcade racing, this is where you go. And I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. As you know, I don't really rate games. I just tell you what I think of them. If I was going to rate it, this is definitely a must-buy. And it would be a high 8 or 9 out of 10, easily. I mean, I don't think quite 10 out of 10 like some people are giving it, but it's a really, really, really good game. And when I want to unwind after a day of work, this is the sort of thing I want to pick up my controller and just have a bit of fun and smash into some walls and do a couple of events. So don't take long. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye.